Hello everyone, good afternoon. I am Prashant Vastrath, founder Guruji Ayurveda. Welcome back once again to the Myths of Ayurveda series. I took some time before I came with the third video. Today we are going to talk about third most popular myth of Ayurveda, that Ayurveda is an outdated science. I differ with my opinion here. In fact, I would like to say that Ayurveda is probably an advanced science, probably it's a bit ahead of its time. I'll tell you why. There are many reasons why I believe so. Number one, what I think is, if you look at the West, today they talk about customized medicine, but that was a whole concept that existed in Ayurveda. Ayurveda always spoke about customized medicine. We looked at the doctors of Ayurveda and we laughed at them. Hey, देखो Ayurveda doctors पूरी बांध के देते हैं. But were not they doing a justice by giving you the exact quantity of medicine that your body needs? Why should I put everyone on a 500 mg or a 650 mg of a paracetamol while he may only require 100 mg? Was it not an injustice? So this concept of customized medicines does exist in Ayurveda. So now you can think whether it is ahead of time or behind of time. Number two, this is the only medicinal system, Ayurveda is the only medicinal system which is comprehensive. It talks about preventive health, it talks about curative health, it talks about mitigative health, and it talks about recuperative and rehabilitative. I will stress on each of these points. Now, preventive health. I have my banker friend, and in the last 1 year, almost everybody in her branch got COVID positive. It's a very small branch containing 20 people. But she has been using the immunity monitor that we have given from Guruji, and to date she says she is very safe, and in fact last week she travelled with her COVID positive friend to drop him to airport, sitting next to him. Even then she is still safe, right? So this whole concept of immunomodulator is very extensively explained in Ayurveda. This is the beauty of preventive health. It doesn't just stick to immunomodulators. You know, Ayurveda talks about what kind of food you should eat in what seasons. Why should you go for detoxifying your body every year, right? And what kind of regimes, what kind of routines you should follow based on the changes in the season. That is how comprehensively Ayurveda talks about preventive health care, right? Now the curative, which basically let's say somebody got COVID positive, somebody got fever, somebody got cold, cough, whatever. So now how do you treat? That's all about the curative medicines. Now the third interesting part, mitigative. Ayurveda really understands that as you grow old, there are a lot of health issues that will come because of the age. That is why today, if you see, the knee joint pain oil concept is so popular in Ayurveda. The moment you think of Ayurveda, you only think of knee joint pain oil, but there are many other things as well in Ayurveda. But this whole mitigative health concept is spoken again very well in Ayurveda. Then we talk about recuperative. So there are two things. Now somebody gets, let's say, COVID positive, and after that people are having a lot of severe issues. Somebody has joint pain, somebody has a fungal infections. Even when there is chikungunya or any of those things, people had a severe joint pains issues. Now if you get treatment in any of the Ayurvedic clinics or with any of the Ayurvedic doctors, there is a concept of Rasayana treatment, Rasayana Chikitsa. Basically, once you go through the main line of treatment, let's say if it is COVID, you go through the main line of treatment for treating COVID. After that, they give a Rasayana treatment to strengthen your body. This whole concept again exists only in Ayurveda. And for that matter, it goes to the extent, there are some of the hereditary diseases. For example, and if you wish that they should not get passed to your next successor, or your next generation, there are medicines even to prevent that, right? So can you tell me which other science talks about these kind of things? Now the last thing, rehabilitative. When it comes to surgery in Ayurveda, everybody popularly spoke about the potters in the street of Pune doing the basically the nose transplant, basically not nose transplant, basically the skin, the surgery, cosmetic kind of surgery where they removed the skin from the forehead and pasted it on the nose. Why was this surgery in particular was so popular? It is because kings in India had this very bad habit of cutting the nose of somebody who misbehaves or doesn't adhere to the rules. So that's why this was more like, or even in the war, people used to have their nose cut. So That's why this particular surgery was performed very often. But Ayurveda spoke about even including eye surgery. Ophthalmology was one of the main branches as part of Ayurveda. So if you look at this, science is talking about preventive to rehabilitative. Almost everything is covered as part of this particular medicinal system. Now, again, it's time for you to go back and ask: Is this an outdated science, or it's a very comprehensive and detailed science which is thinking ahead of its time? Now, the third example. Again, this is a question after once I explain what is this exactly. Now, there are a lot of these people, let's say an example of a anti-anxiety or anti-stress medicine. Now, any of the medicine that you take from the modern medicinal system, how do they function? Why people who are on antidepressants or anti-stress medicine gain a lot of weight, have a lot of health complications when they take it for a longer time? It is simply because when you take any anti-stress medicine, it basically slows down your nervous system. It will basically slow down how do you think. It will slow down your whole nervous system. Whereas when you take, on the contrary, when you take for your stress, let's say ashwagandha tablet, or even if you go for a Shirodhara treatment, these treatments and medicines actually strengthen your nervous system. That basically means it will boost it will give more energy to your nervous system. That is how it copes with the stress. Now, go back and ask, next time when there is a stress, should you slow down your nervous system, or should you strengthen your nervous system to combat the stress, right? So you tell me what is the right approach in this case, right? So that is how I would like to call Ayurveda as a bit advanced in every sense. Now let's talk about some other things. When you take any paracetamol to any antibiotics, there are a lot of research reports that talk about when you take any of these medicines which are from the chemical components, only 65% of them gets absorbed in the body, and remaining 35% actually lie as a residue in the body. Whereas when you take any natural medicines, any Ayurvedic medicine, when you take 100% of it gets absorbed in the body, right? Number one. Second, look at the forms of medicines. Typical forms of Ayurvedic medicines have been churnas, taila, grita, right? The simple reason why it was kept like that was you can decide the dosage based on the severity of the problem, based on the age of the problem, based on the symptoms of the problem person, based on the build of the person. You can actually tweak the dosages without restricting yourself to 500 mg, 600 mg, which are in a predefined form. That is why the forms of medicines were also very carefully taken, considered in Ayurveda. Now, a lot of people talk about, today people are debating about veg capsule versus gelatin capsule. Why do you even have to consume something in capsule form, right? Because when the same powder can be taken in the water, why should I even encapsulate it and take it? So that's again a question. Now we are talking about vegetarian versus non-vegetarian capsule. Forget that. We can actually go beyond that, because at the end of the day, capsule shell is a waste that's going to come out of your body. That's not a drug, right? Now, another interesting thing, you see that a lot of these round pills in Ayurveda, they are called Guggulu. Guggulu is again a natural binding agent that was used to form, if at all something needs to be given in the tablet form. Actually, Ayurveda Vedas used Guggulu as a binding agent. What is the beauty of that? One, it will help relieve the body pain. Second, it will also get absorbed in the body naturally 100%. Whereas, if you take an example of, let's say, a paracetamol, which is a potency of 500 mg. Now, if you actually weigh it on a weighing scale, that paracetamol could be about 800 mg or 900 mg. That basically means remaining that 300, 400 mg is actually a binding agent. The unwanted substance may or may not even be fit for your body. That is why I am talking about what lies as a residue in 35% of lies as a residue of almost 35%. That could even be part of that. Now, there was a study done in Colorado University in US. Right? What they said was, Ayurveda Shodhana treatment, basically the detoxification treatment, which is done for all major health problems. Let's say you have a migraine, or let's say you have a psoriasis. Most Ayurvedic doctors prefer to do the detoxification of your body. Once they detoxify your body, that is when they go for the next line of treatment, so that the treatment is effective and fast. Again, this treatment, this whole detoxification of the body, this whole concept exists alone only in Ayurveda, right? Do you think, do we need to detoxify our body or not? We eat a lot of garbage, we eat a lot of food that is not suitable for our body, we eat a lot of preserved food, we eat a lot of things in the plastic containers. So our body needs regular detoxification. In fact, even when these things were not there, Ayurveda had prescribed doing the detoxification of our body every year. This is such a fantastic science again, and no other medicinal system talks about this particular mechanism. Now, one more interesting fact that not many of you know, there is a special treatment called Pumsavana in Ayurveda that basically says, if you want, once you conceive, if you want a baby boy or a baby girl, using this particular treatment, you can actually precisely determine, okay, this is what I want, and the treatment helps you to get the desired gender of the baby. Now, there are a lot of debates, people saying, how is it even possible, because everything is at chromosome level. But if you see, on the day one, when the mother conceives, there is it is a single cell zygote. There is nothing more. There are no organs are developed even after 3 months. Only after 3 months you start noticing that some organs are developed. But up to 3 months there are not even any organ that is being developed, right? So it's debatable. There are different questions that different people raise, but off the records, because this whole process is being banned because of the gender inequality from the government of India. But if I have to purely look at it from the science perspective, Pumsavana actually works. Though legally or illegally, a lot of people do practice in North India, and there are a lot of references to it. Now, another important aspect of Ayurveda, what makes Ayurveda so special is, its scale. Any disease, whatever you have, Ayurveda either looks at using these two scales. One is it looks at the Vata, Pitta, Kapha, the three doshas in the body, and it also looked at Saptadhatus. Saptadhatus, basically Ayurveda believes that there are 7 different types of cells in the body, tissues, right? So that is the scale of Ayurveda. So you walk in with any problem, physically or mentally, Ayurveda looks at it from these 2 different scales, and these scales are so flexible that it can diagnose and treat any of the problems. So why I am stressing on this point? We have had many patients who said, I have been going around to a lot of doctors, meeting a lot of doctors, and I have been complaining about this particular problem, and they have done all the blood tests, they have done MRI and everything. Everybody says there is nothing, but I am still suffering from this particular problem. Can you fix it? And if you go to any Ayurvedic doctors, such problems get fixed, because the limited scale that is there in the modern science can't even measure these problems, can't even measure the suffering of the patient on these particular scales. Whereas the scales of Ayurveda are so unique, so flexible, that you can actually measure almost all the health problems that a person is suffering from. Now, and look at the body as a body, in sense, we all see that, how the cars are assembled. There is an engine, there is a chassis, there is a tire, everything is fixed separately. But human bodies are not made like that. On the day when in your mother's womb you were a single cell. Today, everybody talks the whole body is made up of cells, but actually that is how we become. Our limbs, our organs, our hands, and everything has become part of that one particular cell. We were not fixed like a separate heart, separate hand. We are not put up like the way the cars are done, right? So the whole human body, how it is built, is completely different. We can't do there is this person has a knee pain, let me do a knee replacement. No, it doesn't work like that. That's why most of the people who go for a knee replacement, I have often found, almost 90% of the people at least that I have seen, once they get the knee replacement done, they get bedridden. So I will end today's conversation with one popular TV commercial that I always see. People say, there's one particular toothpaste brand which comes in and says, oh, do you have salt in your paste? Do you have neem in your paste? Do you have something else in your paste? They keep, I think, down the line 10 years, they will say another 10 different herbs name. The point is, Ayurveda actually dictated what are those 12 unique herbs which are helpful for the different dental problems. What should be the, even if you are using, let's say, a neem stick, what should be the thickness of the neem stick when you are brushing your teeth? So it went on to that details. So, that's why probably if you look at any of the Ayurvedic toothpaste, probably there will be at least all those 10 to 12 typically mentioned herbs as part of Ayurveda text will be found on those particular Ayurvedic toothpaste. Now, having said all of this, I want all of you to go back and think, with this information, do you think Ayurveda is advanced science or Ayurveda is an outdated science? Is it not that maybe it's ahead of its time, maybe we are not able to understand its offering? I'll leave the thoughts with you, and I would like to hear what you think in the comment box. Thank you and stay tuned. I'll be coming back with more videos shortly. Thank you. Have a good day.